The morning light filtered through the tall windows of the courtroom, casting long and solemn shadows across the polished wooden benches. It was a space where lives were dissected, where truths were unearthed, and where the heavy burden of the past met the cold reality of the law. This was a courtroom of Judge Judy Justice, a place where nonsense was never tolerated, and where wisdom often came wrapped in a sharp, uncompromising tongue. Kevin, the bailiff, stood with his usual disciplined posture. He was the anchor of the room, a symbol of the order that was about to be imposed on a chaotic situation. "Court, come to order," Kevin announced, his voice steady and resonant. "All rise." The movement was collective. Haley Chapman stood on one side, her face a mask of youth and exhaustion. Across from her sat Fallon Bigelow, a woman whose life was inextricably linked to Haley through a man who was not even present to face the consequences of his actions. As Judge Judy entered and took her seat, the atmosphere shifted. The weight of the world seemed to settle on the bench. "Have a seat, please," the judge said, her eyes already scanning the papers before her. "Hello, Judge. Case number 3022, Chapman versus Bigelow." "Thank you, Kevin." The judge looked up, her sharp gaze moving between the two women. "The husband is not here?" she asked, noting the empty space. "No," Haley replied softly. "Where is he?" "He is currently incarcerated, Your Honor," Haley explained, her voice carrying the weight of a difficult reality. "Where?" "In a state correctional institution, in Florida." The judge leaned back, her curiosity piqued by the timeline of this broken family. "When did he go into jail?" "He was arrested in September of 2022, Haley said. "Has he been incarcerated since?" "Yes, ma'am." The judge looked at Haley, really looking at her this time. "You have 3 children with him?" "Yes, Your Honor." "How old are you?" "I am 20 years old," Haley said. The room seemed to go silent for a moment. The math of it was staggering. 20 years old, a mother of many, a wife to a man behind bars. 20? The judge repeated, her voice a mix of disbelief and a motherly kind of concern hidden under her professional exterior. "How old are your children?" "I actually have 4 in total," Haley clarified. "I have a 5-year-old who turns 6 in December. I have a 3-year-old who turns 4 in August, a 2-year-old who turns 3 in August, and a newborn, 2 weeks old, ma'am." The judge paused, processing the numbers. 1, 2, 3 for children. A 5-year-old, which meant Haley had become a mother at the age of 14 or 15. The cycle of struggle was visible in the very dates she provided. "Who do you live with?" the judge asked. "I live by myself," Haley said. The judge then turned her attention to Fallon Bigelow. "The only connection that you have with the plaintiff is that you have 1 child with her husband." "Yes, ma'am," Fallon replied. "Who is how old?" "He is about to be 5 in the end of July." The judge turned back to the legal documents, the roadmap of a long and bitter feud. "Now, this is your complaint," she addressed Haley. "Many of these things at least started in 2022, and it is your claim that Ms. Bigelow, who has 1 child with your husband, embarked on a course of conduct that can clearly be described as harassment and defamation. The allegations were serious enough that you filed an application for a protective order back in 2021. It was in March of 2021 that I had filed a protective order," Haley said. "Did you have a trial on that protective order?" "There was no trial. There was enough evidence presented," Haley began, but the judge cut through the explanation. No, there was no trial." "Were you present when the protective order was granted, and did you consent to it?" the judge asked Fallon. "Yes," Fallon admitted. The judge nodded, establishing the foundation of the conflict. "Okay, so you consented to the plaintiff having a protective order indicating that for 12 months, and hopefully for the rest of your life, you would not assault, menace, threaten, or harass her, correct?" "Yes, ma'am," Fallon said. "And according to what I have read, that was in effect until March of 2022. While the protective order was in effect, there was a violation of that protective order." "What month?" "It was in the month of March 15th of 2021, Your Honor," Haley said. The judge looked at Fallon. "Was there a hearing on the violation of the protective order?" "Yes, there was," Fallon said quietly. "I believe at that time Administrative probation was temporarily given to me. The judge sighed, seeing the pattern of behavior. And all of the events that are the subject of your petition happened between 2021 and 2022. This has actually been going on far longer than that, Haley argued. The judge raised a hand to slow the pace. Have any of the acts that Ms. Bigelow was prevented from doing as a result of protective order occurred after protective order expired in March of 2022? Yes, ma'am, I can provide evidence, Haley said. That is what I want to see, the judge responded. So now we have Ms. Bigelow, who is on notice. She consented to a protective order because she knew that the evidence would be clear. Otherwise, nobody consents to it. That means you either assaulted, menaced, threatened, or harassed her. I assume it was a course of harassment. Then you violated that order, and you got a period of probation. Now I am hearing the evidence of acts that occurred after protective order expired. Tell me when the first incident was. Haley took a breath, trying to organize the chaos of her digital life. The first incident was when me and my husband were on TikTok. There's an algorithm that shows random videos, and she popped up on his For You page. It was a post about her mother, and she was living with her mother at the time, and he sent to her mother. Your husband did? The judge asked. Yes. I only want to know things that had to do with you, the judge reminded her. Okay, Haley said, moving to the next point. So I was arrested after my husband got arrested. They tried to charge me in October of 2022. You were arrested for what? They tried to claim that I was trafficking drugs, Haley said. The judge looked at the file. That is what your husband is in jail for? Yes, ma'am. The judge looked at her with a skeptical eye. Okay, what did that have to do with her? It does not, Haley admitted. She had made posts about me going to jail. Can I see them? The judge asked. Haley handed over the evidence. The judge scanned the pages, looking for the legal definition of defamation. This does not say anything that is defamatory, the judge noted. I want to know what you meant by this, she wrote. She has already lost custody of her children enough times. I am hoping one day I might be able to gain custody of my son's 2 daughters. What is that? Haley began to explain, but Fallon interrupted. Haley Chapman claimed that she had no understanding of the drugs being in the home when she was found guilty. She has religiously lost custody of her children. The judge looked at the sentence again. I do not understand the sentence. You wrote, she has already lost custody of her children enough times. I am hoping one day I might be able to gain custody of my son's 2 daughters.